Hi, it's Jeff. A couple people have asked me how my antenna switching works, so I thought I'd make a short video about it. Over here is the antenna switch controller, and there's a DX Engineering 2-in, 8-out antenna switch. Both of these are going to go outside as soon as I'm happy with how the firmware is working. It's pretty close. And then the other part of the system is these two, I call them band selectors, right here, that are connected to the Elecraft radios. These read the band data from the accessory jack on the back of the K4, the K3, using a Y cable. The other wire goes to the amplifier for band change. So what happens is that if I change bands here, let's see, if I change to 15, you'll see the red light came on in the band selector briefly, and then you might see that the now shows that it switched to 12 meter and it's changed to the 10-12 resonator +2, it says. And what that +2 means is that there's two other antennas that can be selected here. So if I press this next button, it will select the next one, which is an all-band doublet. And then if I press next again, it will select the third antenna that matches, which in this case happens to be a dummy load. So again, if here I am on 12 meters, if I change bands on the radio, and at 15, you'll see the red light came on here. The red light is the transmit inhibit. So the radio cannot transmit until the appropriate antenna is selected. So that's the gist of it. That's how it works. Both of these devices, the antenna switch controller and the radio band selector, have a user interface. This is a user interface for the antenna switch controller. This is showing the status, so this just shows what antennas are selected by what radio, and you can change them here if you want to. I can switch this K4 antenna just like that. The antennas are configured through this page here. It's a little bit hard to see, but for every antenna, you can select which bands are available. So that's how the band selector knows which antenna to use. It chooses, if there's more than one antenna, it chooses the one it's going to display or select by the antenna that has the least matches for that band. In other words, it chooses the most band-specific antenna. And then the band selector also has its own user interface, and this right here just matches, as you can see, what we're seeing on the radio. It matches this, and these buttons allow the operation of that. And there's the setup, which specifies which radio it is, whether the radio is automatically turned on. The band selector can automatically power up the K3 or the K4 if the band selector comes on, discovers that the radio isn't on. What the IP address is of the antenna switch and what the name of the switch is. And then the configuration for the networking. And you can also go and change the files on the that make up the UI on the band selector as well. And the same thing's true for the antenna switch.